Hi, it's Jessi, and happy Hanukkah. It's Hanukkah when I'm filming this, and provided it doesn't take me like 12 months to film this, it'll be Hanukkah when it's posted. Also, tomorrow is the first day of Christmas, and I actually for once got the David's Tea advent calendar, which I've been wanting, but I always seem to order it like a month too late, and they're sold out, so I'm glad I got it this year, and I get to start it tomorrow, and I'm excited. But you don't care about any of that, so I'm gonna go ahead and start the video. So quick housekeeping is that I haven't posted like anything in like the last month. I've just kind of been slumping on everything. I did like one vlog I filmed in October and then just never edited, and then I'm like halfway through another vlog that is like taking me so long to get through because I slumped, which I'll talk about in a minute. But this is my fall highs and lows, fall wrap up. Scrolling at this time is every book I read this fall that got at least 4 stars. There are 18 of them. Oh, well, 17 of them. One of these that's on this unrated. 17 of them, which is high proportionally to the amount of books I read in the fall. Now, I don't have an exact number on this because I meant to count and forgot to. But while September was a really good reading month and October felt like a good reading month, I just kind of hit a wall at the end of October and think I read like 3 books in November, which is fine. It's fine to be there. Lots of good books to talk about. I'm very excited. I'm gonna shift myself up. Very excited to talk about the books that I have to talk about today, but like, oh geez. Sorry, I just looked at my list and realized I might have left off one that I would have wanted to include if I had seen it. You know what? Hold for 30 seconds. Let me reevaluate this list. No, okay. I'm gonna stick with what I've got for my tops. So let's start with my favorite books that I read this fall. And by fall, I mostly mean September and October. First on here is gonna be Dracula by Bram Stoker. I was hesitant about Dracula. I don't know why I was afraid of it. I think, and this is really unrelated to anything, but like, I tried reading The Phantom of the Opera when I was in like high school and was bored to tears by it. And then I also felt the same way when I tried to read Les Mis, although Les Mis is less to do with this. So I've just kind of been afraid of like classic horror, even though I really loved Frankenstein. So I didn't want to get in. I don't know why Dracula just brought up memories of trying to read Phantom of the Opera. But I actually really enjoyed it when I did read it. I did an audiobook, and I will try to list the specific version of the audiobook in the description if I remember to, because it was really well done. There were different voice actors. There was a male and a female voice actor for the different letters, but like they did really like specific accents, and sometimes they were like over the top, but I almost feel like that was intentional because I feel like there was a theme in here about like the folly of xenophobia, maybe. I don't know. I did not read this as critically as I think I would have liked to. I kind of find myself in this bind where I'm glad I didn't read it for school because I enjoyed it more because I got to kind of self-pace myself, but also wishing I had read it in school so that I could have had that critical analysis that reading things for class brings about, if that makes sense. All that to say, I will probably reread this maybe next year and try to read it physically, maybe even with something that has like a guide to go with it so that I can really delve into those themes, because it really was, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Not loved it, and the depiction of women and the role of women in the books, iffy, but I liked it a lot. The next one on here, oh god, we're continuing the horror theme, which continues for quite a bit, is The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. Stephen Graham Jones is quickly becoming one of my favorite authors, at least favorite horror authors, if not favorite authors of all time. And I'm definitely going to keep reading his works. This one, I didn't give a synopsis for Dracula, I assume I didn't need to. The Only Good Indians is about this tribe of indigenous peoples. I should look into it. No, they're inside the borders of the current United States. But I don't remember what tribe they were. But they made a mistake when they were young, and it is coming back to haunt them in the guise of the elk woman who wants to kill them all. This is definitely one of those stories that I found myself almost rooting for the villain until the villain did something that was like, oh, nope, that's a step too far. And then switched. And I think that was intentional, especially with how the story is set up. I also think there's this really wonderful narrator switch in the middle of it that's so fantastic and really well done. I love it. It's creepy. It's gross. I had lots of trigger warnings for like gore and animal abuse, and it's gross. But it was really fantastic, and I enjoyed it, and I was like heart thumping listening to the audiobook, so it was really good. Skipping a couple, let's see. The next one on here, also kind of following that theme to a certain extent, not a horror, but supernatural, would be Alatsaway by Darcy Little Badger. This is actually one of the few books I managed to read in November, and I'm glad I did because it was really, really good. This is about a young girl, Alatsaway, or Ellie, who has the ability to resurrect ghosts. And then her cousin is killed, or dies, and talks to her in a dream, and it makes her really want to investigate his death a little more. And I'm gonna stop there because I feel like people mentioned some things that colored my perception going into this and made me look for things that I wouldn't have been looking for. But I really, really loved it. A lot of really great themes about who owns the land and stuff like that. But also it's just a wonderfully fleshed out world where like it is our world. It is recognizably our world. But also this is clearly a world in which the supernatural has publicly been a part of the world for a long time and helped shape it. And not to like an extreme, we don't recognize this world anymore, in a really realistic way. Like there are vampire self-help groups and things like that, and it really was just a fantastic world. It got a little cheesy at time, like her best friend's a cheerleader and there's like a weird point where he like does a cheer to make her pump her up for something, and it was like a little like that's a little cringy, but like I had a lot of fun with it. In the vein of cringy, because as much as I love this book, it feels like it falls solidly in there, is the only one of these books I own, which is Harrow the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. I don't remember if Gideon the Ninth was on my favorites list when I read that, or did I read it? No, I read it this year. I don't remember if it was or not. But I had bought that forever ago on the tagline Lesbian Necromancers in Space, and pre-ordered the paperback so I could read it with some friends online, and it's amazing. How do I even describe this series other than Lesbian Necromancers in Space? I can't tell you really what Harrow is about because it very much, like any series, depends on what you know about Gideon, the end of Gideon the Ninth. But Gideon the Ninth is about Harrowhawk and Gideon, who Harrowhawk is a necromancer, and Gideon has to go with her on to this like intergalactic competition to become, you know what, I'm gonna stop describing it because that makes it sound lame and it's not. But this one is about Harrowhawk. It's from Harrow's, no, not gonna say that. And it takes place several months after the end of Gideon the Ninth, and I love it. I love Harrow as a character. She's just so relatable in like a nerdy, uncomfortable way. The humor in this book, so in Gideon the humor took a long time to get used to, but like I loved it when I got used to it. It's very Gen Z, and I never thought I would be saying that, but it's very Gen Z. Harrow is also that way, but like because Harrow as a protagonist is very different than Gideon as a protagonist, it kind of tones that down a little bit, but also there's like vague references and good moments of like, I see what you did there. I am never going to get over the weird left houses with none grief joke in here. But I really loved it, and I don't really know how to talk about it because I don't know how to not spoil it. But it's fantastic, and I really think everybody should read this series, and I can't wait till all 4 are out so I can have just a really gushy review of how much I love the series, assuming the other 2 books don't bomb, and I expect they won't. But God's name is John, and that's really all you need to know about it. This book on here is one I haven't rated, which is because it's nonfiction. I don't tend to rate nonfiction. I might put a rating on Storygraph, but not like an official rating for my purposes. And that is Disfigured by, I don't have the author's name written down, and that was a mistake. It's Amanda Leduc. I didn't even finish looking that up. Disfigured by Amanda Leduc. Leduc. I'm not sure. This is I don't really know if it's essays. It's almost, honestly, it's almost more memoir than anything. I didn't like the description I gave here, but I wanted to say that this is about disability, mental and physical disability, and how fairy tales depict that often in harmful or not useful ways. How then that translates to either is reflected in or a reflection of how society treats those things. And I just thought it was really interesting. I don't think it was like objectively the best thing I read this month by any means, but I do think it deserves to be included here because I really loved it and it really impacted me at the time. It's just saying a lot of really interesting things, and I know that this is like an area I still struggle with. And I think like just it was really interesting to hear this kind of echoing of things that like seem like they should be obvious but aren't. Like, why is it that fairy tales depict the villains as a certain way and the heroes are always able-bodied, or if they're not, it's like depicted as something they overcome, and it was really interesting and thought-provoking, and I enjoyed reading it. Very quickly then, I'm going to dive into, actually pause. I'm gonna do a giveaway. I don't think this is gonna be something I do normally or anything like that, but I'm feeling the giving spirit, kind of as a thank you for those who watch my videos, but also kind of paying it forward because I won one of these style giveaways last year. So the giveaway, it's gonna be really simple. I need you to do two things. You need to comment. Well, I prefer if you're actually following us, but like I don't actually know how to check that, so I'm not gonna make it a formal requirement, just like a polite request. But in order to enter the giveaway, I want you to comment one, your favorite book you've read so far in 2021. So whatever it may be, it might be the only book you've read in 2021, I don't care. Your favorite book you've read so far in 2021, and a link to a wish list. It can be Amazon, it could be bookshop.org, it could be wherever you have a gift wish list that like will ship to you. And I will randomly select somebody to send something. I mean, presumably a book, but if you want to throw other stuff in the wish list, maybe I'll send you some like gummy bears or whatever it is you want. Just kind of a thank you for watching my content. My finger is stuck. All right. Anyway, back to silly book stuff. The two lows for this period, this season, are actually both DNFs, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about them because the gist of my complaints with them is they bored me. The one is the Thursday Murder Club. This has been like making the rounds in like certain circles, especially like mystery circles, and I don't really read mysteries, but this was a book club choice for the book club. One of the book clubs I do, it's the only book club. The book club I do with Leslie from Stuck on Arrakis, and I was so uninterested. I didn't really care about the murder. And then like I think the thing with like a murder mystery, and again, this is like a genre I don't really read that much, but you gotta kind of be invested in the characters to some extent, and I just didn't care, like at all. So I don't know, I got about like a quarter or a third of the way into it and I gave up, and I asked my friend from the book club, like, hey, who did it? And he couldn't even tell me. He was like, I don't know. So I don't feel any comeuppance for DNFing that one. The other one over here in my unhaul pile was Amazonia by James Rollins. I got this book, this is actually the ARC edition. I got this book because the head of the science department at a school I worked at traded me for 1,000 Splendid Suns. And so I was like, This is not something I would ever have picked up on my own. I will give it a shot. And I finally got around to trying it, and first off, the premise itself made me uncomfortable. And then the book itself just included some weird stereotypical depictions of Native Americans. It feels really sexist, and it's not for me, and I was bored by it, and it made me uncomfortable. So I DNF'd it. That is it for me. I only have 2 books physically. That's these ones, one I loved, and one I couldn't be bothered with. And that is it. So like I said, to enter the giveaway, I will include those details in the description to make it a little easier for you. But just leave a comment with your favorite book and your wish list. To make things easier on me, please include the word favorite in there, like my favorite book is, and that way I can do like a word search. If this gets a million comments, it probably won't, but who knows? And with that, please follow if you haven't yet. I think only like a third of you follow me. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a happy Hanukkah. Bye.